Welcome to our Good Friday all-age service. I hope that you've been singing along with some of our songs. I hope you've followed along with the reading from Luke's Gospel that you maybe heard and read a moment ago. And we'll be singing again and praying again in a few moments' time. But just going to do two short talks for our all-age time together this Good Friday. It's Easter time. It's Easter time, and that means a time of remembering the death and resurrection of the Lord Jesus. But it also means a time for eggs, doesn't it? We had a great Facebook Live kids Easter egg hunt on Tuesday. First time I've ever done anything quite like that. But it was good fun. If you joined in with it, thank you. Thank you for bearing with us. We had a great time. Now look at the picture in the video now. Easter is all about eggs, apparently, isn't it? Eggs as a sign of new life. We'll think about that on Sunday morning together, I'm sure. But have a look at this picture here. And I'm going to tell you something. Things are not as they seem. What can you see? If you're at home with a family, chat about it. What can you see there? If you're at home maybe with a husband or wife or whoever, chat about it. What can you see here? If you're at home on your own, just have a good look. What are you looking at? It looks like 4 boiled eggs, doesn't it? Maybe they're not boiled, maybe they're raw. It looks like 4 eggs. Well, let me tell you something. Things are not as they seem. There are only 3 eggs in this picture. Which one of these is not an egg? Can you work it out? Do I need to tell you? Maybe point at the screen. Which one is not an egg? They all look like eggs to me. Let me show you. Here we go. Look at that. Things were not as they seem. It wasn't an egg. It was just a very bald man. Now, you see, in today's reading, what we're going to see is that things are not as they seem in our story. We come to the story of Good Friday, and immediately we're thinking, Good Friday? What is good about this story? But things are not as they seem. Want to pause the video at this point, if you're watching with a family or in a couple, and just chat, or maybe stop and think about the story that we've just had read, and what isn't as it seems. What isn't quite as it appears to be? Did you see? Did you look in our reading? And did you see that there were some things that seemed very strange? Let me tell you a little bit about that. We're going to look at 2 different words this morning, or this afternoon if you're watching it in the afternoon. We're going to look at the words judgment and salvation. And let me give you a little bit of a clue. Judgment simply means getting God's thumbs down. Judgment is getting God's thumbs down. Can you see, because we're in a lockdown, my things are even more basic than they normally are. Judgment is getting God's thumbs down. It's God saying, And salvation, rescue, is getting God's thumbs up. But the problem with our story today is that those who are getting looks like they're getting God's thumbs down are actually getting God's thumbs up. And perhaps those who look like they're getting God's thumbs up are actually getting God's thumbs down, and vice versa. And we need this to get this, and this to get this. It's all connected. Things aren't as they seem. So have a look down. Hope you've got Luke's Gospel open in front of you. If not, I'll read bits out for you. But it'd be great to have it there to follow. And we're looking at chapter 23, the little bit that was read earlier. You see, our story starts. Jesus has been doing these miracles. He's been doing this great teaching. And as he's done so, he's made some astonishing claims about himself. How he is the Christ, the promised king, come to bring God's rescue. God himself come to rescue his people, just as he did many years earlier in the great Exodus with Moses. But the Jewish leaders aren't very pleased. They hate what he's saying, and they have him arrested. And he's put on trial. And then we see in today's reading that he is led away to die. And he's been flogged. The bit that we haven't seen is that he's been whipped so badly that I suspect that's why he doesn't carry his own cross. By the time he got to the top of the hill, it would all have been over for him anyway. This great big, what they did was they made the criminals carry this great big crossbeam on their backs, a really heavy bit of wood. Now, if you've already had your back whipped, that would be pretty painful and pretty awful. And so they make Simon from Cyrene, a stranger who's come in from outside town, to come and carry it for him. Now, did you see what happened? As Jesus is walking up with Simon carrying the cross behind him, there are a whole bunch of his followers, women followers, who are crying and weeping. As if kind of what is happening is terrible. This is the judgment of God upon the one that they thought was to be the king, the rescuer, the one that they cheered on the back of a donkey just a few days earlier. And you see, Jesus says to them, "Don't weep for me. Weep for yourselves." That seems a bit odd, doesn't it? Don't weep for me, weep for yourselves. Why would they need to weep for themselves? He's the one who's walking up a hill about to die on a cross. But he says to them, "Blessed are the barren women, the wombs that never bore, and the breasts that never nursed. Then they will say to the mountain, fall on us, and to the hills, cover us." In other words, this is bad, but things are going to be so much worse for you in the future that you're going to have to cry. You're going to wish that the mountains came crumbling in on you because life is going to be so bad. And then he said this strange little saying. Did you notice it? "For if men do these things when the tree is green, what will happen when it is dry?" Okay, let me explain that little phrase to you. Let's see if we can get to the bottom of it. Because you see, what he's saying is, when you light a fire, you don't burn this stuff, okay? Because it's still wet. It'll just go smoky and smolder and go out, okay? You don't burn the green growing stuff. Instead, you find the old branches that have dried out, the gnarled kind of dry ones. They burn really well. But he's saying, look, if they're burning these, then what are they going to do with these? In other words, if they're treating the king of the universe who doesn't deserve God's judgment, then how are they going to treat the people who do deserve God's judgment? Let me explain it another way. Jesus didn't deserve God's thumbs down, and yet they were treating him as if he did. So how much more is God going to bring judgment on those who reject him? Do you see? Jesus is showing us that things aren't as they appear. God's judgment and God's rescue don't quite work in the way that we imagine they are going to work. God doesn't just judge the bad people and the good people. He goes, "Oh, well done." There's something much more beautiful, much more wonderful going on here. God is offering salvation to those who come to him through his Son. And anyone who rejects him, as we'll see in the next part of the talk, will still be under his thumbs down. But then they treat him like a common criminal. They lead him out and they crucify him between two other criminals, as you can see behind me, common thieves, people who deserve it. This great Christ, this great rescuer king, is under what looks like God's thumbs down, God's judgment, when really he should be under God's thumbs up. But even in the midst of that, at each point in our story, we see Jesus caring for others. Did you notice that? As he's walking along, having been whipped and leading to his death, he cares for the woman who are crying next to him. As he's being mocked by the Roman soldiers in verse 34, he asks his Father to forgive them. He cares more, even in his death, about others than he does about what's happening to him. Let's sing a song, and then we'll come back and we'll think about the next bit together.